So why can't we focus as gamers? We're hyper trained, Pokemon reference, to crave the stimulus that's very frequent, very vibrant, very flashy, and over and over again. Whereas the usual person, the normies, they're we could call them, they aren't as catered to this very hyper stimulating, flashy, KO screen or flash or this or that or wow, ooh, wow, this, that. We're trained to have this stimulus over and over and over again, whereas the average person isn't really catered to that. As opposed to the average person, we're conditioned to crave this stimulus that's very vibrant, very flashy, and very repetitive. And not repetitive in the bad way, but repetitive as in over and over and over again. We're seeing flash, bomb, explosion, smoke, flashing colors, strobe light, and things like that. And the average person isn't really exposed to that in the same way that most gamers are. So when we subject ourselves to video games, and yes, I use the term subject ourselves because when we subject ourselves to video games, we're putting ourselves through this training of stress that's being put onto our minds and our bodies and our eyes. And we learn to associate flash with attention. As everybody does, it's just part of our being a Homo sapien creature where we see big flash. Ooh, we want to look. Like if this light, ready? If that flash, if it goes, my obviously I'm gonna instinctually I'm gonna go look at the light. It's the same thing with video games. So we can't focus in the same way that most people usually can because we subject ourselves to this every day, day in, day out. Another big part of this is competitive games, specifically things like Smash Bros, Splatoon, Street Fighter, like Team Deathmatch for like Halo or Siege or things like that, where rounds are going by super quick, usually only a few minutes to maybe 10 minutes maximum for any given round. Obviously, there's exceptions with League of Legends or MOBAs or things like that, but by and large, these matches are lasting 2 to 10 minutes tops, and we're engaged for the entire time. So we're really trained to focus. Like, ooh, okay, quick, and then when the match ends, we like look at melee players, dude. They want to go immediately into the next match, and that's because their brain is just like, okay, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And as competitive players, obviously, we want to get back in the next match to kick your butt. But, but, the trade off of this is that when we want to keep going on next match, we are training our brains the same way that people complain about TikTok, where we're like, okay, this post, next. It's the same thing, but with competitive matches. Oh, this match, okay, next. Okay, I lost, okay, next. One, okay, next. And it just keeps going on like that. So we're training our brains in a different way, the same concept as things like social media and TikTok and Reels and stuff like that. The same concept, but in a different way. With Smash Bros, sometimes matches can last for a minute long. You go, okay, next. And your brain just wants to keep going next. Going next. Going next is a very common term that we use. And it's just saying, okay, yep, that's over. On to the next one. On to the next one. And our attention spans are so short now that we can't focus. Something happens, we go, okay, next. I'm getting into it right now just because it's like it's that momentum. There's a momentum that gets built with it, and it's that habits that we talked about before, where you're in the momentum and the habits of do this neuron means go next. Okay, boom, go next. Boom, go next. We know that. So when this gets instilled upon us for so long and so many years or months or years or decades even, then we tend to not really take a step back and pause in between our games and try to think. And this goes into competitive gaming too, where in between the matches, like when I play competitive, I don't, if I'm in person, I'm at a tournament, people hate me for this. People complain. I've seen people complain on Twitter because I take too long in between my matches. The match doesn't start until I decide it starts. Both players have to be ready. You gotta ready up. So the other person, yep, okay, I lost that one. Okay, next. Boom, choose my character. Okay, ready. You'll see me on the player cam. I'm closing my eyes, dude. I don't care. I will wait, not like I'm stalling or anything, but you can wait like a minute, upwards of like 2 minutes, depending on the rule set. But you can wait like a minute, like 60 seconds You can wait a minute to think about the game before. Take a second. Don't just go next. Take a second, calm down, and think. How can I improve? What were they doing good? What was I doing bad? How can I exploit them better? Okay. Close your eyes. Think about it. Deep breath. Okay. Ready up. And they hate me for that. But it's extremely, extremely important. I have won games because I'm pausing the momentum. If they just kicked your butt and they're going, okay, ready up next, go, 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 they're trying to keep that momentum going. And that's completely up to them. They can do that. But take a second. And like I said before, as gamers, we're very predisposed to just keep going next, next, next. But we don't have to. Take a second in between your matches, whether it's competitive, whether it's casual. Take a second. Don't let yourself get enthralled by the boom, next, boom, next, boom, next. Just take a second. Another thing, and I'm very, very guilty of this, I will not lie. Multitasking and multi-screening. Yes, you could think it's optimal, but your brain power and your productivity is now being halved, right? But then also, it's not doubled, it's halved. Also, it's actually not even halved, because now you're doing 50%, 50% here, you're making mistakes, which is even less than 50%. So if you just focused on one screen and you're using 100% of your brain and your focus on one screen, it would be so much better, right? But obviously, nobody's gonna do that. I'm still gonna shiny hunt while watching Breaking Bad. You can't stop me. But that is another reason why gamers can't focus. Another big one. It is called analysis paralysis. Now, I've always used that term. I learned that back in maybe early high school, but you guys have probably heard of this. It goes by a couple different terms. Basically, it is when you have so many choices that you can't choose. And it's kind of self-explanatory. With analysis paralysis, you're analyzing so many different choices and so many different choices that you just decide to choose no choice. And the best way of explaining it is by a study that was, they went to a ice cream store, basically. And at the ice cream store, they went to two ice cream stores, right? One ice cream store had three choices: chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. Okay, three choices. And the other ice cream store, super cool store, they had chocolate, blue raspberry, black raspberry, cherry, vanilla, cookie dough, rocky road, and like 1,000 different options. Okay, which ice cream store do you think got more sales? Now, I already explained what analysis paralysis was, so maybe you guessed, but you would be right if you said the ice cream store with only three choices. Now, if it was up to me, I'm cookie dough all the way, baby. But the sales that you actually get when you only have three choices, that way people are funneled much easier into the three choices. They don't spend so much time going, ooh, do I want moose tracks? Do I want blue raspberry? Do I want cherry? Do I want it dipped? Do I want sprinkles? Do I want jimmies or chocolate sprinkles, depending on which political party you're in? I think about this all the time, where I might have 10 different things to do. I need to take out the dog, I need to take out the trash, I need to update my computer, I need to do the laundry, I need to do the dishes, blah, 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 right? All these household chores. But if I only had two things to do, where let's say I only had to do the laundry and the dishes, I would be so much quicker to do the laundry and the dishes than I would be to choose, okay, which chore should I do first? Should I do this one? Should I do that one? The same thing applies to the ice cream. It's the same concept, where less choices leads to more action. More choices leads to more indecisiveness. So taking that into consideration with video games, where let's say in Smash Bros, where we have 90 something on characters to play as, there's a lot of people that don't know what character they want to play. Do I go Yoshi? Do I go Mario? Do I go DK? Do I go Pikachu? Like 1,000 different characters. But back in the earlier games, when there was only like 16 characters, even less in Smash Bros. 64, people were much easier to choose a character because there's much less choices. The concept is less choices leads to more action. More choices leads to more indecisiveness. So remember that when you're going about your day-to-day tasks, and also just having different things that you want to do in the day. Bring it down. If you have a list of like 10, 15, 20 different things you have to do in a day, keep that list. That's great. But bring it down to say, okay, just I want to do these 3 things today. These are the 3 most important things. Let's just do those today. And you're going to have a lot more action, a lot less decisiveness in your life if you're choosing between chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry rather than 1,000 different ice cream flavors. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we regain our focus? How do we focus in on the task that we need to do? I want to break it into 3 parts: your mental, your physical, and your environmental factors. Okay? These 3 are very, very important, and these are really how you want to tackle your focus. My dog has now entered the building. Hi. And we're actually going to go into the first category, which is environmental. Now, just as my dog just walked into frame, she's adorable. I love her. Her name is Roxy. But she's a little bit distracting, as you could see. So the first thing I want you to do, I mentioned this in other videos, I want you to clean your room. Now, I know it's so obvious, and I know we've talked about it before, but if your room is in clutter, if it's a mess, if you've got clothes over here, you've got cords over here, you've got trash on the floor, you've got water bottles on the table, you need to clean your room. If your room is a clutter, your brain is a clutter. I cannot do work. I spent the entirety of today after I went to the gym just cleaning this room. Okay, I'm in a different spot as usual. I'm in a different spot than usual. So I kind of had to fix everything up, make it my own, but we're here today. I just wanted to clean this room first. Before I do any work, I need to clean my room. I will not get anything done. I will waste days, weeks, and months at a time if my room is not clean. I will not do work. Not because I don't want to, but I just feel crap. If everywhere's a place to sit, look, I'm sitting on a couch. I had to make this all clean. I had to clean over here, there. I had to organize everything, put all the books on the bookshelf. The room needs to be clean so that you can facilitate the work that you need to do. It's important. Now, I'm going to talk about another thing here. Your environment determines who you are. When I first started getting into self-improvement, I wanted to start going to the gym. I know that was the main thing. That was the most important thing to start doing. Now, I had one friend that was really into the gym. He was very ripped, very chiseled man. I love him. He got me into the gym, right? But he was really the only person I knew, and he lived in a different town at the time. So I needed to basically manually mold my environment to the person I wanted to become. So let me go into that a little bit. I still had Instagram downloaded. I wasn't on TikTok at the time. Still am not. I was at one point, deleted off my phone forever. But on Instagram, I unfollowed all of these meme accounts, these girls I never talked to, the guys I never talked to, these influencers that I was not serving my life at all. And I followed fitness accounts. I had no idea what I was even looking at. I've never even stepped foot in the gym before. But I started following Noel, Jeff Nippard, Hamza, Alex Becker, and even not necessarily fitness guys, but just like people that posted stuff that I wanted to consume. Not that I wanted to consume, but people that posted things that I knew I should be consuming if I want to become the person that I think I want to become. So everything I saw was now bodybuilder this, hack squat this, bench press this, deadlift this. And every time I opened my phone, I would go on Instagram because I was still a little dopamine fiend, but I would go on Instagram and I'd go, oh, bodybuilder thing. Okay, I don't really know what that is, but okay. Swipe, another bodybuilder. Okay, okay, that's cool. Swipe, another one. So I'm feeding my brain now different things than, oh, funny meme, bro. Oh, GTA 6 when blah, blah, blah. Like stupid crap like that. You feed your brain every day. And you become what you see. Just like you are what you eat. They say that you become what you put around yourself. So if you're still on Instagram and you go, no, I can't get rid of Instagram. My grandma's on that. Bro, my grandma's on Instagram too. You check my comments. She says, "What a handsome grandson." And of course she's not wrong. But you become what you put in front of yourself. You are what you eat. So if you're consuming crap on your phone, going dank memes, this deep fried memes, blah blah blah, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, blah, oh my gosh, crap. Just if you're just feeding yourself crap, you're gonna become crap. But if you feed yourself good quality content, like self improvement stuff, where it's like physical fitness, money making, investment, and stuff like that, stuff that's actually going to be useful in your head, you are what you eat. You're going to absorb that over time. And I knew this somehow when I first started up. I knew this. So, like I said, unfollowed all this crap, followed good stuff. Good stuff came into me. Okay. And this also goes for your environment outside of the digital world, too. So, just as you can make your wallpaper a picture of a bodybuilder, so every time you open your phone, you go, yep, you know, you can also have posters around your room. So for me right now, I'm not in my usual spot, so I don't have any posters. But on my phone, like I said, I also have pictures of things that are important to me, like religion, or like Christianity, pets and stuff like that. But just as you can do that on your phone, you can also do that around your room. So I want you guys to have posters up of like Arnold or bodybuilders or just things that are actually important to you that are good for you. So yeah, like I have a couple posters of video games around my desk, but also what you don't see is pictures of bodybuilders or just things that are important to you, like Christianity or your religion or just people that are important to you or pets or animals or things like that. You are what you surround yourself with. So if that's whatever's most important to you, maybe video games is that thing. Like if you want to get better at Smash Bros, maybe have a Smash Bros poster up. If you want to get better at Valorant, maybe have a Valorant poster up. If you want to be closer with your father, maybe have a picture of you and your father next to your desk. Stuff like that, where stuff that you see every day and you walk past will instill itself upon you. Okay? Your environment is, I promise you, is the most, beyond everything, your environment is the most important aspect of your focus. Same thing about how we were talking about where you need to focus, but you have your dog coming in. The dog should be in a different room, locked away. Sounds kind of brutal, but she'll come back out after the video's ended and she'll get some belly scratches. But you need to organize your workspace. Make sure there's no distractions. Make sure there's no dogs running in the frame. Make sure there's no parents coming in and starting to talk to you about doing dishes. Make sure you've done the dishes. All of that is super, super important. There should be no distractions. When you got to sit down and do 30 minutes of work, sit down and do 30 minutes of work and don't get distracted. Put your phone down, do the dishes first, make sure there's no other external circumstances that are going to be affecting your quality work. Most important thing. Now, circling back to the apps on your phone. If you looked at my phone right now, I do not have social media. I am active on social media. I have YouTube, I have Twitter, I have Instagram, but they're not on my phone. Why? Take a wild guess, dude. I'm on my phone just as I open it up. I'm on my phone all the time, right? I open it up, and if I see Instagram right on there, it's just a perfect little purple square that I can just go boop. It's so easy to press. As soon as I press it, I'm wasting time. So cut it out before it becomes a problem. Don't even have it on your phone. You don't have to delete your account or anything. Like, it's super good to have social media and have a following and all of that. Like, that's super important. But you don't have to have it on your phone. Keep it on your computer, okay? The computer, the web version on any social media is obviously horrible. And that's the point, right? We don't want it to be super engaging, or we don't want to be able to swipe. If we have it on our computer, we're much less likely to use it. We're going to use it way more intentionally, and we'll actually use it for what it was designed for, which is being in touch with people, being able to text people when you need to, and things like that. Another thing, as well as deleting the apps off your phone, get rid of your notifications. Your notifications, you ain't that important, kid. You do not need to know when Sabrina Carpenter posts, "Oh my god, I was on the catwalk doing that," or whatever, or Clash Royale. You don't. First of all, you don't need Clash Royale on your phone anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But you don't need notifications on, "Oh, Jason just sent you a snap," or "Sophia just sent you a snap," or this or that, or "Oh my gosh, Jack just sent you a post on Instagram." You don't need notifications on that. You can use it intentionally on the web browser. Every once in a while, you can go, I haven't checked Instagram in a while. Let me open up my computer. Yeah, it's a hassle, but it's the point. Open up your computer, www.instagram.com. Oh, okay, Jack sent me a post. Oh, cool. Hey, that's really funny. All right, ha ha ha. Raffle, whatever. Close the computer. Boom. You just saved yourself literally 3 hours of scrolling. And tell me, when has scrolling on TikTok or Instagram literally ever benefited your life? Tell me one specific time you remember. Name. I don't even. It doesn't need to be 3, 4, 5 times. Name one specific time where you opened up Instagram or TikTok and you went on Reels or Shorts or whatever, and you scrolled for 2, 3 hours. When has that ever benefited your life once? Think of it. Think about. I can't think of one time that's ever benefited my life, ever. So it's not on my phone. I don't do that. It's that simple. Those 3 hours can be spent so much better by practicing an instrument. I have my ukulele right here. I have a stylophone. Just like, they don't even need to be super like business oriented or fitness oriented, although that is good. Just have a hobby that isn't scrolling on social media. It has never benefited your life once. Get off of it. So I know you guys have heard this one before as well. And it uses a bad word, so I'm going to verbatim it. But don't S-word where you sleep. Don't crap where you sleep. Okay? And this isn't necessarily used in this context, but it is when Shanzo talks about it, okay? And what I mean by that is you don't play video games where you sleep, okay? You don't do crap where you're scrolling on TikTok, you're doing this non-useful things for your life where you sleep. Sleep is important, work is important, and when I say sleep, don't crap where you sleep, I also mean work. So where you're doing these kind of useless activities, playing video games, watching TV, whatever, don't do it where you sleep. Okay? Work is done in work spaces. So when I want to do work and I'm at school, I go to the Shanzo spot. I'm not telling you where the Shanzo spot is, but it's a certain spot in the library that nobody knows about. Okay? It's a very secret place. Nobody knows about it except a few select people. And if I start seeing people there now, I know who I told. I know who told people. Okay? So you're all gone if you told people about the Shanzo spot. I promise you. But I don't mean that. But what I mean is, your work should be done in a work spot. Your sleep should be done in your sleep spot. And it keeps those two worlds separate. So when I go to work, I go to the Shanzo spot in the library where I sit down in this room that nobody knows about and I click my work away. Okay? That's where deep work comes in. And I'll talk about deep work in another part, but basically just do the work with no distractions. Have a space for your work to do the work with no distractions. Sleep in your spot where you're supposed to sleep and play and do all of this stuff where it's separate from your work. Because if you start working where you sleep, if you start crapping where you sleep, then it's going to get mixed up. You're going to start getting distracted. You're going to see your dog walk in. You're going to see your friend. You're going to see, oh, my DS is right over there. I should probably play that. It's like your brain's playing tricks on you, and you don't have to let that happen. Do your work where you work. Do your sleep where you sleep. Now, I'm actually going to give a personal anecdote for this. When I was playing competitive Smash Bros., there was one time I was going to URI, and the tournament was not exactly canceled, but the venue for it was. So we had to go to a friend's house to play out the tournament. And it wasn't like massive, it was like maybe 15, 20 people in this guy's house. But it wasn't the usual spot where we played. And I had to learn a lesson that day. God decided. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to this guy's house to play the tournament. So we go to his house to play the tournament, and I was just not taking it seriously. I could not lock in. I was seeing couch here, couch here. You know, people were playing piano over here. So it was super hard to lock in because I wasn't in the same place that I usually played. I wasn't expecting this. This was completely last minute. No diss to the TL. Obviously, he was doing a great job. He sacrificed his home to to host the Smash Bros tournament. What I mean is that it was very hard for me to lock in because I wasn't in the usual spot. And the chair, like, there's a whole other story with that chair. I might tell another time, but like the chair was uncomfy to say the least. There was, you know, the lights were bad. The screens were way too close to my face, so I couldn't see everything at once. It was just a really bad situation for me to be in to lock in. I wasn't ready for it. I was not crapping where I slept, or rather, whatever. It was very difficult. So I ended up doing horrible at that tournament. I got upset. And, you know, like the guy just played better than me. Like, I'm not, like, this isn't a John about, like, oh, you know, the environment was bad. But I had to learn a lesson. And I was trying to go over to my head. I thought about it for a few days, and I was going, well, maybe it's that I have to lock in through the environment and, you know, or try to like embrace the chaos of it. It wasn't that. I learned later on that it's not embracing the chaos, but it's about locking in despite the chaos. And if you can at all help it, don't deal with the chaos in the first place. Like, if you're doing work and you have to take a test, don't do it in the middle of a cafeteria where people are going to come up and talk to you. Like, if you're taking a 30-minute time test with 30 questions, multiple choice, and it's like time, like you got to kind of go through these things. Are you going to take that test in the middle of a crowded cafeteria where you know everybody in there and people are going to come up and talk to you and go, hey, Shanzo, what's up? And you're, no, not now, I'm locking in. Like, no, you're going to take that test in a spot where you're not going to be distracted. You have that full 30 minutes to focus as much as you can and do the work. Now, obviously, in the situation, the tournament couldn't really be moved because, oh, Shanzo says he wants it in a disclosed location. Like, no. But it taught me a valuable lesson where you have to be able to try to obviously avoid the chaos in the first place. But if you do have the chaos, lock in despite the chaos. You don't try to embrace it. You don't try to take off your blue light glasses or like or just, you know, sit in like a weird position and try to practice for it. No. You want to lock in despite the chaos. Don't try to embrace it. Just do your best to focus. And if at all possible, do not deal with the chaos in the first place. Don't crap where you sleep. The biggest portion and the tip for your mental is to have a calendar. I've talked about this in another video where as gamers, we really like having structure. We really like having to be able to check off these little check boxes where, you know, do 3 tasks, check. Do one task done, check. 2 tasks done, check. 3, check. And now we get to get rid of that side quest. We like the organization of it. So I guarantee you, if you kind of get into the habit of holding a calendar, having a checklist, really getting the organization down, it is the biggest hack of being a gamer because we like this organization. Just apply it to real life. We are the most organized people, I promise you. And just take advantage of that. I promise you. If you've never really gotten into holding a schedule or like really go into the depths of the checklist of, you know, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. It's your biggest skill as somebody that plays video games or a gamer. It is your biggest skill is that you are an organized person. I promise you. If you're watching this, you are an organized person. Don't label yourself as disorganized. You are organized. Take advantage of it. Hold a calendar. Have a Notion app or a Google Calendar or Time Tree or anything like that. I promise you. Just organize, your stuff, your brain will be less cluttered. I promise you. Now, for your physical, remember we went over mental, went over environmental, and your physical. For your physical, I want you to have a good diet. I know, well, it's obvious, like, oh, just eat good, but don't also overeat. You need fuel, obviously. Like, you need to have something in your stomach when you're doing work, but also don't overeat. Eating is one of the most calorie burning things that you could do short of exercise, which is kind of ironic, right? Like, it's how does that work? But it costs your body so much energy to consume food, which again, it's kind of funny because you're like, what? You're eating food, aren't you getting fat or whatever? No. Yes, but you ever try to go to sleep after eating a whole meal, or like you eat a bunch of food, you try to go to sleep and you're just like insomnia the whole night. Your body's is using energy to burn that food and to digest it, whereas your body needs to be relaxed and calm to fall asleep. Same thing when you're doing work. If you eat a bunch of food and you try to go to work, you're gonna be so lethargic. You're gonna go, oh my, my stomach. Oh, I can't. I'm just gonna lay down and I'll do my work later, and it becomes procrastination. Same thing if you have no fuel in your stomach for hours and hours at a time. And there's been some people that are talking about where, get up in the morning and immediately start doing work. And I think that's good and there's a place for that. But if you haven't eaten anything all day and you go to do a deep work task where it's something that requires a lot of your brain power and you're running off of 0 calories and a hot coffee, what are you doing? You will die. Like, you're going to pass out, dude. There's no way you're going to be able to do your best work on 0 calories at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, you're going to die. Eat something healthy. Have some chicken, have some spinach, have some bread, whatever. But don't overeat, don't undereat, but be able to fuel your body with the fuel that it needs and the energy that it needs to do deep work tasks. Very, very important. Just as important for your diet is also your sleep. Now, like I just said, if you're not getting the sleep you need, you're not going to be able to do the deep work tasks, and that's very obvious. A lot of people, obviously, we don't get the sleep that we need. We're getting, 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but a lot of people don't actually realize is that even though we're, our phones or our Fitbit says, oh, you got 5 hours of sleep, and you're like, oh, that's not that good. It's actually even worse than you think, because sleep isn't sleep. It's not, oh, I got 5 hours of sleep, that's 5 hours. It's 5 hours of sleep, but the time you were actually asleep, getting that good restorative rest, it can be closer to like 2 or 3 hours. So it's like, imagine you getting 3 hours of actual sleep. You're going for 21 hours of grind, work, game, whatever, eat. And your body's using all this energy going, oh my gosh, all right, gotta finally rest. And you sleep from 2 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 5 hours of sleep. 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. for 5 hours of sleep. Turns out it's only 3 hours of good restorative sleep. You're screwed. Like, you're gonna die, buddy. I'm not even kidding, though. We're like, how are you getting good work done? Especially if you're not the smartest guy like me. I need to be able to get the sleep that I need, eat what I can eat, in order to have the best situation for myself, to be able to set myself up for the best course of action and the best results that I can get. Because I'm not the smartest guy. If I had 200 IQ, I probably wouldn't need the sleep or the eats or whatever. I could just be like, oh, the answer is this. But I'm not that smart. I need to be able to set myself up for the best situation possible. Where if I get the sleep that I need, if I get the food that I need, set up my environment in the right way, I will have the most likelihood to do the best work. Now, to wrap it up, we talked about why gamers can't focus. And remember, it's because of this insane amount of dopamine we're subjecting ourselves to, where we're playing video games where you see flashes here, smoke here, pop here, sounds here, strobe here. And we're very overstimulated to that, whereas the average person doesn't really have that. And the ways to deal with it, we broke into 3 parts: physical, mental, environmental. So for the physical, we want to make sure we're eating right, sleeping right, to give ourselves the best course of action, the best circumstances to make the best decisions and to do the most deep work. And remember, mental, we want to make sure that we have our calendar. We want to make sure we're organized so that our brain doesn't have nearly as much to do as we actually think we need to do. We talked about analysis paralysis, where we want to say if we have 15 things to do, just prioritize a couple. Make sure to get those done first. Give your brain less to focus on. So that way you're not deciding between 15 ice cream flavors. You're only deciding between 3. Okay? And then we talked about environmental. I think this is the biggest. This is what I talk the most about, where your environment literally develops who you are. You want to make sure you have a clean room, make sure there's no distractions, don't talk about the Shanzo spot, and make sure you get the most deep work done by setting yourself up, not only your mental, not only your physical, but your environment, so that you get the most deep work done and you can focus the most. Now, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to learn more, click the link in the bio and the link in the description. It'll be a 15 to 20 hour course of just more stuff like this, more in-depth, kind of an autistic level of advice of just exactly what I'm talking about here. When I talk about the mental, physical, environmental, deep work, you've heard me talk about that a lot. We're going to be talking about that all in those videos, and I would hope to see you guys there. So if you're interested in more, let me know. Top link in the description. Click it up. I will see you there.